And here we are live. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And I have several friends here with me to help on a fundraiser for Jen. Jen is getting ready to move, if you weren't aware, or shift, as they call it in Australia. And the kitty is a little bit low because Jen's had some family issues recently, and so I brought the kitty. Uh, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. And I've got something special to show to Junk Shop. I've got a special joke for you. So we've got all kinds of little things planned. But first, let's introduce everybody. Jen, you take it away and introduce yourself.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Jen from Jen's Little Corner. I'm the one who's needing the funds raised for at the moment because of moving house. A lot of complex stuff all at once involving family issues with my brother being ill, and I'm taking over being his carer at the moment because of how unwell he is due to liver failure and kidney failure. In the process of this, in the middle of moving to a new house to actually be closer to the rest of the family, so there'll be more support and everything. But yeah, as you know, these things are not cheap, and I've been left in the position where Rob's ill enough now that he can't help with shifting. And whilst I have family at one end to help unpack, I don't have much up here to help with packing or the capability without absolutely killing myself of loading stuff that needs to be loaded in a trailer. Because I'm shifting 500 kilometers away, which is about 300 miles. So it's a fairly decent shift. And so one of the thing I'm basically raising funds for is to help pay for the removalists, so that the bigger stuff I don't have to kill myself trying to shift. And that's what it's come down to. And I want to say thank you to the community at large at the moment already, because I've already raised $595, which is a decent sum to start off with. And I did get a quote for the removalist I got recommended by some family for who to use, and it's going to cost at maximum about $1,500 for the removalist, which is quite cheap for that distance of shifting and them doing all the loading and everything. I have to pack all the boxes, obviously, which I've already started. And so that's kind of what's happening there. So.
And there is a link to the fundraiser, to Jen's fundraiser, that is pinned in the chat. And so I would ask that for this stream, please, no super chats. If you were planning to give money for a super chat, please put it into Jen's fundraiser instead, as this is the intent of today's stream.
And Kitty. Thank you, Jeff, for donating another $10.
Kitty, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Kitty the Atheist. I am a baby YouTuber. I've been on a lot of other people's streams, but as far as producing my own content, haven't done much of that. But I do have 2 videos out right now, like one little short one and one longer one. And I plan on making more, but I spend most of my time focused on sewing masks and, helping with, raising awareness about, socially distancing and all the things to stay safe during a pandemic. I absolutely adore Jen, and I'm glad that I got to be here. I even did like gold and green and, St. Patrick's Day / money makeup for the occasion. I'm even wearing a green shirt.
Very good. Very good. And Junk Shop, I have something special for you. And unfortunately, it did not come out as good as I was hoping. I am wearing my brand new Smiter shirt. But unfortunately, you can't see it. So instead, I have some advice for you. I recommend that on your Teespring line, delete the dark green shirt. That's what I'm wearing. But the black on the dark green, the color... Yes, this is green. I know it doesn't show as green very well on the camera, But even in person where you can see that it's dark green, the black on the dark green, you can't see it at all. You have to have your face on my chest to be able to read it.
I mean, some might say that sounds like a good time, but
I was gonna say I'm not sure that's a bad thing, but
beat you to it, B.
So yeah, either change the color of the wording on the dark green shirt or delete the dark green shirt as an available color because it doesn't work. But this is a Smiter's t-shirt.
Well, I'm so glad you like it. We'll get rid of the dark green. Oh my goodness, I had no idea.
And Jeff, the phrasing was intentional. A little innuendo. I've never heard anything.
Gigi, honestly. Like, a dirty mind is a terrible thing to waste. I mean, let's just get that out there right now.
And mine has been pent up for decades.
Right? Like, all of that religious oppression, like, let it out. Let your freak flag fly. God, I can't talk today.
hey, that's a lot of F's. Seriously.
But, oh, goodness. Yeah, do you. Like, have fun with it. Like, you know, you only live once. Might as
That's
well
right.
enjoy it while you're here.
Oh yeah.
Besides, what's
Amen.
a bit of innuendo between friends?
I mean, exactly.
In your endo, no.
So go ahead and introduce yourself, Junkshop. Tell everyone who you are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm Junkshop from the Junkshop Library channel. We do various atheist stuff and some mental health stuff over on the channel. And I'm here because moving absolutely stinks, and I hate it. And we've got to help friends when friends need help, especially with something as appalling as moving. So donate if you at all can, please.
And I am going to ask for a little bit of help from the chat. If people in the chat, especially Randolph and Seraphim, anyone who has a wrench, can just check on where the fund is and post as the fund.
Do you want it up on the screen, Granny?
Oh, I can do that?
Oh, I can do that. I can put it on. I can dump it over the top of my webcam.
Oh, okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Give me a sec.
Technology is a wonderful thing when it works. When it doesn't work, it's incredibly frustrating. Junkshop's over there like, truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you can tell who your real friends are whenever you need to hide a body or move your house, from one house to another. Like, 'cause
Right.
the true friends are the ones that'll show up. Like, the truest friends will help you hide a body and keep their mouths shut. But true friends will show up and help you move your stuff to a new house at least.
Can confirm.
Fact.
And B, tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel.
Well, my channel's name is now and will stay just B. And for those of you that don't know, it's because everybody kept saying, "What does B stand for? B what?" No, it's just B. So so I did that. I've been doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday streams, 8 p.m. Eastern, which most of you guys know anyway, but just in case somebody doesn't know. I do equality streams on Monday, history streams on Wednesday, and then an open mic on Friday. And anybody's, welcome to join. We had a pretty diverse group last night, and we were talking about equality in general, and even Randolph came in, like the most whitest cis guy you'll ever meet. and he hopped in. We had a great discussion. So everybody's welcome.
Randolph is lovely. Honestly,
Yeah.
if I ever win the Powerball, I want to relocate to Canada and be his neighbor.
Right.
No, like I've looked into it, and like as far as the climate goes, his general area has the mildest winters in Canada, and because I can't handle super cold weather with my condition, like I mean, it's still going to be colder than Florida, but I could tolerate it. So like I legit would be his neighbor.
Right.
Is he in British Columbia? Kitty, is he in British Columbia?
I believe so, but he can correct me.
I know
if
they're
I'm
over on the
wrong.
West Coast. That's all I know.
Randolph says to ask you, B, about
Yeah.
the sparks on the show.
He was cutting metal, and everybody was like, "Oh, Randolph's over there chopping up that metal. Look at all those sparks." I said, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna start calling him Sparky from now on, because he's always
Actually-
cutting something or drilling something. I think his new name should be Sparky."
That reminds me of a story where I got to play Steve Irwin for the day. I got to wrangle an alligator. So I went to here in Orlando. There's this resort. It's called the Gaylord Palms Resort, and every year they have these ice
Gaylord
artists.
Palms.
Yes, Gaylord Palms. Yeah. So it's
so
fabulous.
much in that.
But anyways, so they have these ice artists come in every year, and they do these amazing ice sculptures, like full nativity. There's a slide you can go down made out of all ice. They do some colored ice and some like crystal clear. It's fucking beautiful. But the Gaylord Palms also has this big atrium area where they actually have different sections of it to show like the different ecosystems of Florida. And one of them is the Everglades, where there's an actual live alligator pit, and they do alligator feedings twice a week. At least they did when I was there. So I'm watching the alligator feeding, and one of the alligators went to snap at the guy from Gatorland that was feeding him. And he ended up hitting his head on a light, and it like let out this huge spark. So everyone else, when the show was over, left, and I stayed because I saw the guy needed a little bit of help. So I sent the person I was with to go to the concierge to get tape, because I didn't think he would have any on hand, but I had an armful of hair ties like I do. So he's down in this pit, and he uses my hair ties to tie the gator's mouth shut. And then it's like, "Hey, can you grab this from me?" And so he lifts this gator up, this like almost 5-foot gator, like up higher, and I had to bend over the railing to get it up. And then I get it down on the ground. I've got my hands holding its mouth shut because I didn't want to get bit. I've got my forearms on its front legs, my shins on its back legs, and my feet holding his tail. And I'm just like laying on top of this alligator while the guy came up from in the pit that was like recessed down, and then taped the gator's mouth shut. And he had to go to Gatorland because he needed medical treatment because the gator had like cut himself, and he was at that size that they tend to take them out of the pit anyway because they want them smaller for safety reasons. So he's like, "Oh, this gator's going to Gatorland. What would you like to name him?" And I was like, "That's a no-brainer. His name's Sparky because of the giant spark that flew when he bit the light." So I did. I legit got to wrangle an alligator, and that's something that, you know, most Australians probably couldn't say, although they have crocodiles, not alligators. But like, so I got one up on most Australians. So
You got one from most people, I think. Quick, hands up, everybody.
it literally, it was a life experience, man. Like, this was back in, it would have been, I think, around 2009-ish, like right around that time. So, like 2009, 2010, it was somewhere right, either just before 2010 or just after, but that little time span there. So, yeah, fun life story.
I've never done anything that cool. I helped a cow give birth.
That's
once,
awesome.
And tried to wrangle some pigs because we were trying to shoot them to chop them up for food. And this one kept running every time we tried to shoot him. And we kept missing. And we'd have to wrangle him and get him back over by the food and be ready to stop him again. And then he'd run. Hey, yeah, I rode him one time backwards for about 20 feet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, "Ah!" And then eventually I fell off. But it was...
I remember once the neighbor had a coral snake in their backyard, and they had dogs. They were worried about it, so they were going to kill the snake. And they it had tried to go up between like two like fence posts, and like we had a shovel and we had it pinned there, but the shovel couldn't go far enough to chop off the snake's head, and you couldn't let it up because then the snake could, you know, go away. So someone ran inside, grabbed a 22 and just
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
just want to give a reminder, because there's a lot of people that are in the chat now that were not there when I made the announcement earlier. Please use the pinned link that's at the top of the chat to make a donation rather than a super chat. If you use a super chat, don't worry about it. Almost a Doctor. I'll just put in another donation to Jen's fund from the super chat you sent. But anyone else, please use the pinned link, and that way we can watch the fund fill up. And as you know, Godless Sewing is supposed to be here, but Godless Sewing scheduled himself for a bunch of different stuff all tonight. So he will be here, but it's going to be a while before he gets here, and we will all welcome him when he gets here.
What, he can't buy
Well,
loaf
if he goes into Neil's after party, he could be there till midnight. They
And
just
also,
go
if
on
you
and on.
if you're after another Aussie, if Matt's available, he is an Aussie.
Matt?
Almost a doctor.
Oh, almost a doctor. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you were saying earlier that you were hoping you
Right,
could get
I
another
was trying
Aussie
to
in
get
here,
another-
but
Yep.
I didn't even think of Matt. Sorry, Matt.
I didn't know Matt. Well, first of all, I didn't know almost a doctor's name was Matt, and I didn't know he was
Yeah,
an Aussie.
He was an Aussie. Yep.
yeah, that lovely accent. Mhm.
Awesome. I'll shoot him in the link.
Okay.
To represent Godless Sewing, I have not sewed shirts in a very, very long time. So I had some scrap material and I was practicing doing sleeves. So it's this teeny, teeny, tiny little shirt, you know, just made out of some scrap, like practicing putting sleeves together. So I drafted up a pattern real quick and basted it all together to try to finagle it in place. And I think I got it. So this shirt can represent Will with one sleeve and none of the seams really tacked down other than just basting stitches. So Will is represented.
And I have a holiday joke I want to tell. I only get to tell this joke once a year because it's a St. Patrick's Day joke. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Who's there?
Irish.
Irish
Irish
who?
too.
I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day.
I love it. I love it. I'm a sucker for puns. I find them incredibly funny. But sometimes like they're just so good that you're just like, I hate you a little bit. You know, like, it's a love-hate relationship with puns. Like I was in the car with my sister the other day. We were headed to Joann's because I needed to get some fabric. And as we're driving by, we're stopped at a stoplight, and there's a bench where there was like an advert on the bench, and it was a bee with a little paint can and brush, and it was like, because signs work. And it's like, God damn it. Because it was spelled out B-E-E, and the bee was holding the little brush. I was like, it cracked my sister up, though. And then my son's reading it out, and he's like, it's a bee.
Well, did you notice the pun in the thumbnail for this show? Unfortunately, sometimes the thumbnails don't show in the links that I put up. So the links that I put on Twitter, you can't see the thumbnail.
Yeah, I've had that problem when I'm on mobile. For some reason, my phone won't share them, but my computer will. Me and technology, y'all know. I probably
The problem you have with Twitter is if you link it up and then you change the thumbnail on the stream, Twitter caches the original thumbnail. So as soon as it's got it, it doesn't go look again to see if you change the thumbnail. I've had this problem before when I've had to change thumbnails, and it's absolute pain in the butt because Twitter caches them and it won't relook them up. So I guess they're saving bandwidth, but it's annoying.
I got a new palette just for tonight because I needed that green.
Oh, that green is so gorgeous.
That is a heck of a green.
really
It's very
is.
impressive.
It really is.
And then I
Oh.
dug into my my fire palette because this palette has a gold, and I am a sucker for like shimmery shades. Like I even
And you realize
used-
green and gold is Australian colours.
I
That's what I was
actually
laughing at.
didn't.
Granny.
Oh, you should have said yes. I did realize that. See, that's why.
No, because like I'm like honest to a fault. Like I don't know. Like I mean, I kind of try to live by my motto. You know, ugly truth, beautiful lie. Like honesty is the one thing that I demand of people with me. It's like it is trust and honesty. And if you break
Yeah.
that, then like I have a very hard time with that because. I mean, with everything that I've been through, like trust is very, very important to me. So honesty goes hand in hand with that.
Absolutely.
Matthew's been here for almost 5 minutes. We haven't even said hello to him. So hello, Matthew.
We all
Hello.
waved.
I'm out.
No. Hi, Matthew.
Yeah, waves count, don't they?
He's
Yeah,
gonna
they
be
do.
a doctor by the time we get around. to
It'll be a
letting him-
tsunami.
All the extra degrees will be done. He's still waiting.
Does it frustrate you, Matt, when you see tsunamis depicted as breaking waves? Because it does me every time they do that in a especially if it's meant to be a documentary about tsunamis and they show a breaking wave instead of the surge that a tsunami actually is.
There's so many things people get wrong with science that it's just kind of like all just, I'm slightly frustrated, but constantly.
Yeah.
Same with movies, because I love my history as well. So when I watch a movie, particularly any movie set a while ago, I can look at it, not only get the science, but get the history and be like, no, that definitely wouldn't happen. Like if they'll have like a plane diving in a movie and it'll be making certain sounds, I'm like, one, that's not physically possible. And two, those planes didn't exist in that battle. And then my family is sitting there watching me go, why are you watching the movie with us like this?
Don't tsunamis suck all the water back, right?
And then
they
it
create
comes
a
all
huge
in, but
wave,
it's
and it
comes in as a
doesn't
surge.
crash. It just kind of comes in like this. Like here
No,
I
yeah,
come.
and
it's
if you-
curve. It
just slides
literally a
in.
wave, so it's a surge front. So
Right.
there is
yeah,
no
so it
crest.
looks flat
Yes.
behind the tsunami, and it's just this giant moving wall of water
Wall.
rather than a
Yeah.
Then
a
a
breaker
wave.
that you could surf.
Yeah.
Like
Which is
100
why in
foot
movies
wall
when
of
people
water.
like jump
Right.
under pools or try and get out of the way briefly and then the wave passes, it's like,
There
No,
actually
you
is
gotta
an
wait a while.
exception to that as far as tsunamis go. There was a wave created. I can't remember what the name of the bay that it happened in, but it's got cliffs around the edge of the bay, and a chunk of cliff fell off into the bay, and the wave that went out to sea actually was crested because of the shape of the bay, and there was a fishing boat that surfed it.
Nice.
Not by choice, obviously.
I just want to know, like, did the guy end up on the other side of the town and just kept going in the boat?
Well, no, because
or-
it went out to sea instead of coming in. Because it crashed into the bay, and that created the shift in water, but it crested because of the way the bay was shaped.
Ah,
So-
okay.
So it was interesting because a wave crest happened because of the shape of the of the shape of the
I'm
land
sorry,
as
I'm
it
just-
comes into
I'm being a
towards
cat in
the
the
shore.
stream, and hi B. I'm
Hi,
sorry. I'm
beautiful.
doing it because so many things are happening at once. But I just want to say, it's a fundraiser, right? It's the one.
Yeah, it is.
Can't keep track of anything. If we reach it, I'm going to get a bouquet of lavender flowers tattooed on my arm with the and it's going to be tied with the pride colors, trans pride colors ribbon. So
Aw.
FYI, I'll get a tattoo, and yeah, I will record it.
The
And
funny
so-
That'll
thing
be
is,
awesome.
Are you gonna
everybody
record
needs to
having
know
it
that
done?
Julie's on Math Pig stream right now, which is the St. Patrick's
Yeah.
stream. That's why
Right
she has
now.
that on her
Yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah.
So I know
I'll
that.
have my own in like less than half an hour. But I love you guys, Lavender Lady. I love you. We're gonna get this done.
Jen,
Sorry.
it's not like
Jen,
I know it's Jen. I know that was Jen. I was just giving a
That's
shout
what
out.
was confused when you sent
okay.
me that
Oh, this is
message.
a Jen shift move.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll still do it. It's fine. Jen deserves it too. It's fine. Love you. Bye.
I love how scatterbrained she is.
Take that
Adorable.
wine back to Math Pigs, lady.
You don't know that.
Oh, I love her. She's so sweet.
One of these streams I'll be able to drink on one day. The only thing is the time zones means I'm currently at work. Oh, this is my office. So, and I have the car I need to get home in. There is light beer somewhere, but no, I think I'll leave it.
Oh, that's
Wrong
all right.
time of day to be drinking that. Wrong time of day.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but
great.
I've been in the last 12 months. I've been RBT'd 7-8 times now.
Oh wow.
Get the random breath test for anyone who doesn't know what
Oh.
that is. It's mainly because they set up and keep setting up in the same spot that I drive through at the same time that I drive through. So I would keep driving it every week or two. And yeah, although last time it detected the hand sanitizer I'd spilt on my lap about 20 minutes beforehand. So I had to get out of the car for them to redo the breath test. Because I think in America they do other tests as well, but in Australia they'll just go straight to a breath test. But they
In
don't care
Ameri-
about your license here if you don't blow over. So far of the 7, I've been asked for my license once because it's just like, no, you're not drinking, off you go.
In America, they really wouldn't care a whole lot because you're white. They would only
Yeah.
stop you if you were black.
You
Sad
know,
to
I got
say.
stopped.
Fair.
I got stopped with 2 white chicks in a vehicle with me coming back for the bar. I was originally, we were at the bar so long, I sobered up a little bit before we left. Like, that's how long we were there. And they were both trash, and I was trying to get them to let me drive. And we pull up to a red light, and they're fighting in the front seat. I'm sitting in the back, and there's a cop. And I'm like, hey, quit. Oh, fuck. So as soon as we went, he just pulled right behind us.
Yeah.
So he took her out and did the whole test, walk, touch the nose, everything on her, and she failed miserably. And he said, he came back to the car and said, either one of you sober? And the other girl in the car goes, no, officer. And I was like, I only had like a drink or two, which was a total lie. I drank like a 12-pack that night probably. But he scared me so bad, I was like sober all of a sudden. And I went out there and did the whole test. And that's basically what they do here is they'll give you the whole test. If you fail that test, then they breathalyze it. Then
Yeah,
they
here they don't care whether you're actually capable of walking in a straight line. It's, are you over our limit, which is 0.05. It's lower than most of the states.
Yeah, ours
low.
is
Yeah,
0.08.
same here.
But we had how many? So our population is about 25 million. I think last year we had 4 million people tested, like breath tests, 4 million breath tests, and about 25,000.
25. Are we
got
close
caught.
to that? Are we about 28 now?
Yeah, well, I was just rounding it off.
Rounding it off.
Go with the
Intriguing
easy
number,
numbers.
they
Don't
don't
get
know.
complicated and
I'm
leave the
surrounded by
flags, man.
astrophysicists. They round everything off.
Yeah.
Physics.
So does the IRS.
So,
Yes.
What's a couple of thousand light years between friends when you're an astrophysicist?
Look,
I
if you're in the
mean-
right order of magnitude, you could be off by a factor of 2, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
Details
I
about
remember.
what happened.
I have no idea. I thought maybe you knew what he was referring to.
Okay, well, we all missed it then. Okay, so as long as it's not just me, I'm good.
Yeah, okay. We're either all crazy or we're not quite crazy in this case.
Or maybe we're not quite drunk enough.
I mean, we're not quite crazy enough, right?
Well, these aren't
Crazy
mutually
and drunk
exclusive.
astrophysicists. That sounds about right.
I remember they used to do chemistry talks before COVID where they would get an expert in, but they'd talk about some really interesting topic to all of chem. And it would be things like we had a gastrophysicist come in. We had someone who studied chemical systems you might find on, say, Pluto or the moons around Saturn or Jupiter. And they'd run these tests at the Australian synchrotron. So they'd fire X-rays through all these interesting chemical samples. And they would give out free alcohol before these talks. And then the dinner was really cheap. So you go to a restaurant and it'd be subsidized with your students. So yeah, I just see all the professors before the lecture. Like I was like, how much do I pour? I don't want to be seen to be greedy or alcoholic. And then I just see one of the professors just come up and like fill 250 mils of wine or walk off. I'm like, I think I'd be fine.
Ryan Cathod's privilege. I'm just
I can't remember who it was, but I went to a talk a few years ago with one of the mathematicians from the University of Western Australia, and by the end of his talk, because he was drinking whilst he was still on stage and he'd started drinking before he was there, we could actually not understand what he was talking about. And when we got to questions, he wasn't answering questions about maths anymore. He was talking about football.
Actually, that kind of reminds me of the principal of my high school. Like, whenever we had school dances, she would come in wrecked. I remember prom one year, literally, like, the assistant principal and one of the other faculty literally needed to, like, escort her off into the corner. Like, you could smell the alcohol on her, and then she tried to cover it by dousing herself in perfume, which didn't help.
Made it worse.
And so she's like wobbling and slurring, and you see the assistant principal and someone else just like moving her off to the side, just be like, yeah, okay, let's just get you over here.
My school had a few issues because it was a private all boys school, but like one of my teachers was arrested a couple of years later as a pedophile, and he was the one who started my nickname, so I had that. But we also I did a history tour where we went around a few places in Europe looking at some of the historical sites, World War II battlefields, World War I battlefields. We looked at, the churches, the castles, etc. But when we got to Italy, the teachers found that the wine was really cheap. So I remember the students couldn't drink because we weren't allowed to, but the teachers got absolutely hammered. There was like 2 of them that were still sober out of 6. One of them was, nearly collapsing in a gutter. It was just hilarious to see teachers. Everyone at the end thought it was hilarious to go up and try and shake the teachers' hands because they kept missing.
That's
like they couldn't shake hands.
I'm surprised you said hammered instead of pissed.
Oh, we say
was that-
just put ED at the end of any word and an Aussie will know that you mean drunk.
Slosh.
That probably says a lot more about your culture than just about anything else. But then again, you do sell rum and coke in a can there. So
you can get it in many different cans. And plus you can get, if you whiskey and coke, all the common, but they're all the American brand whiskeys or rums, and you can just get them in a can with cola. But we don't have
even
the
with
big
Diet Cola now. You can buy it with Diet Cola as well.
Okay, possible unpopular opinion, Diet Coke is disgusting.
Yeah,
I
agree with you.
It's
but
not the only
Pepsi
thing
Max
I drink.
is awesome.
Anyway,
can't. It
I
makes
want to
me
get to
gag.
Jeff's comment here. He says we've raised just over $230 down under dollars since we started the stream.
That's
Although you need
amazing.
to add 10 to that because 10 came in as a super chat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They're doing well.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Yep. We need
So-
to raise about
Yeah.
I like Jeff.
600 more.
Wankered is the best term for being drunk.
Yep.
Amazing.
See, that's the thing. That would work here because it's got an ED at the end of it. But the thing is, my grandfather actually grew up in India, even though he's like British, Irish, Welsh descent, and he will use words that, like, I've never heard them before, but I know he was referring to someone being drunk. Just because, as I said, in Australia, that you could use almost anything. But yeah, the number of times I've been on a train with people who are absolutely mottled, which apparently is a British one, but it still works here because it's got an ED, is quite scary. Trains out of Sydney on a Friday or Saturday night are not pleasant. The number of times I've had to like step around clear vodka vomit is I don't want to recall. I've had friends decide to sit on the inside of me on the train because everyone else looked too scary. They were just hammered, but
So in Australia, if a girl says she's sweet 16 and never been kissed, that means she's never been drunk.
chances are you're not going to find people like that.
Yeah, because most of us start drinking about 14.
I was the odd one out. I didn't have a drink until I was 19, but I did that in Thailand, so technically that wasn't legal. But it was Thailand, and they don't care. But like they asked at the door, "Have you got ID?" I was like, "No," because wouldn't matter. I wasn't old enough. I didn't think we'd get in. And then they asked a friend who was also not old enough. He said no. So they asked his older brother, and he said yes. They looked at his ID and let all of us in. You wouldn't get away with that in Australia. They are very, very strict here on ages. I've only just started not being asked for my ID, and I'm with my friends. I'm like, am I getting older? Because I'm like, it's if you look under 25 in Australia, you have to get asked.
And if you don't actually have your ID on you, that's it. You're out.
Yep.
Because I've been out with friends where we got ID'd, and God, that was a while ago. I'm a bit old now to be ID'd. And one of us didn't have our ID with us, and the rest of us stayed inside the pub and finished our game of pool and kept drinking, and then we left. And the other person waited outside for us. Things you do when you're in your 20s.
Yeah, because they just won't let you in. They can stop you for any reason. So I've only ever not been let into a bar once. It was a really nice whiskey place. It had a wall of, they had thousands of whiskeys in there. And we were trying to go there. It was my mate's 21st, and we'd all been drinking. We'd been to like 6 other bars at this point. And I'd drunk less because I'd taken time off at some of the places. And my friends were more gone than me, but I was the first one up. He takes my ID, has a look at how many drinks are you going to have here tonight. I was like, 1 or 2. And he's like, come on, which is it? What are you doing? I was like, okay, 2. And he's like, okay, but not tonight. He just hands the ID back. No reason, nothing. Off you go.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but the next place they also pulled me aside and they're like, okay, how much have you had to drink? I said 6 or 7, which was a slight underselling of it, but they let me in, and they're threatening me that if I'm crazy I'll be on water and then they'll kick me out. And I go in there and I'm looking around and I'm the most sober person there, and there are people hammered, like passed out on the bar almost. I'm like, why was I the one threatened? It was just,
Well, they walked in sober though. You walked in already pissed.
yeah, but they're meant to be checking in, and I wasn't actually. I was still like we had a pizza there. I didn't actually order any alcohol, but I don't like that place. Too loud.
I was allowed
like
to vouch for a
places
daughter
either.
once. We went out as a family, and Robin was with me, and Susan was with me, and Susan was over 30, but she didn't bring a purse with her because we were there. Robin was still a minor at the time. Actually, I guess Susan was under 30 then. Susan was in her 20s, but Susan decided she wanted to drink, and the waiter asked her for her ID, and that's when she realized she hadn't brought her purse. And the waiter said, "Are these your parents?" And she said, "Yeah." Is she over 18 or over 21? And we said, "Yeah." I said, "Good enough." Yeah.
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 What is the
Normally,
drinking age in Australia?
sorry,
What's the drinking age in Australia?
18.
18.
Yeah, it's
And that's-
21
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Everything's 18 in Australia except the age of consent, which is 16. But everything else is 18. So
Aren't they trying to change cigarettes here to 21 too?
They already did.
They already did.
Yeah.
Although I'm pissed about something that the Mango Mussolini did before leaving office. One of his final acts was a giant fuck you to vapors, because essentially he signed into law a vape mail ban. So now a private consumer, because of the children, cannot buy vape supplies online and have it delivered. Vape, like the UPS, USPS, as of the end of this month, none of them are going to deliver any vape mail to private citizens. Businesses can still get theirs, but it's still going to hurt a lot of small businesses that rely on customers going and buying their products and then mailing them to them. So it's going to hurt the industry badly.
yeah, I think isn't it legal in part?
Granny,
What?
I think you got another super chat. You might have to change the pinned tweet.
Okay.
Please don't super chat. Please don't.
All right.
Also, I think in Australia,
You can-
or at least in some parts, vaping is illegal. They
So
just didn't
stupid.
allow it. I think that was the case. I don't know if it still is in New South Wales because I know people have been able to get their hands on it, but I don't know whether that was because they were meant to or not. But yeah, it's weird. Like it's not good for you, but it's just like, yeah, but smoking is worse. So
Yeah, like 95% worse. Like, I mean, the British College of Physicians have concluded that it is 95% safer than smoking. I know it's not healthy, but it's a hell of a lot healthier than smoking
neither's
a
drinking.
cigarette.
We seem to have no
Exactly.
problem with that.
And I am for bodily autonomy. If it is your body
Oh,
and you are not
definitely.
hurting someone else, do whatever the fuck you want. I give zero shits. And like, I don't like, the fact that they're like, oh, think of the children because, oh, you've got fruity flavors in your vape juice. But yet you can get fucking churro flavored vodka and birthday cake flavored vodka.
Well,
Not in
Those don't get
Australia.
pulled off the
Pop.
shelf.
Kids love passion pop because it's so sweet and doesn't
can't-
necessarily taste like alcohol. So, I mean, there was major problems in Australia with young kids buying passion pops and getting paralytic and going to school. So,
Yeah, so here in Australia, it's actually illegal to sell any alcohol that may appeal to kids. So you can't find alcoholic milk. You cannot find anything that's meant to be like lolly flavored. There are some ways around parts of it, but yeah, Australia's pretty strict on that.
you can
So
still
the
buy
kids
passion pops, but yeah, it's a lot harder to get stuff like that now. And I mean, in most places, kids aren't even, in a lot of places, kids aren't even allowed, unless they're under a certain age, aren't even allowed to walk into a bottle shop.
Yeah, they aren't
So-
here either. And one thing that was really interesting that helped me out as a result of that is because children are not allowed to enter a liquor store, and the issue came up, well, what if a child wants a Coke? They have a legitimate reason to get a Coke. So they made it a law that all liquor stores had to have vending machines for Coke, or well, for soda, outside of the store at the same price that you can buy the soda for inside the store. And so if you go to the liquor stores, you could find canned soda for $0.25 a can in the machines. This was before Robin was born, because this is when I was traveling a lot for work. I was an insurance adjuster, and I was driving around seeing cars. And so anytime I got thirsty, I'd just look for a liquor store and know that I could go get a Coke for $0.25.
That's great.
Nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
I have a funny ID story for you guys since you were talking about IDs. So I was 16 and with my sister Susan went and visited her in Florida, in Orlando. And and we went to a what is it called? I want to say like Froggers or something like that. It's kind of like a dumbed down Hooters.
Yeah.
And they're really big on their wings. Anyway,
yeah,
so
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so we went there. It's some reptilian name, I believe. So we went
I
there.
think it is Froggers or Froggies, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So we went there, and the waitress comes up. What do you want to drink? And my sister says Bud Light. Back then, everybody was drinking Bud Light. It was, a long time ago. So she says, "Let me see your ID." So Susan hands her the ID, and the lady looks at it, looks at the age, hands it back to her. And she said, "What would you like?" And I said, and I just kind of like paused for just a split second and said, "Bud Light." And she said, "Can I see your ID?" And she said, and Susan goes, "Oh, wait a minute, it's in my purse." Hands her the same ID. The lady looks at the face, looks at me, looks at the birth date, hands it back to Susan, and goes and gets me a beer. Because we looked that much alike back in the day. Like I looked just like her without makeup. So we sat there and got trashed. It was great.
I remember once I was in a convenience store. This was back when I was still smoking, and I went to pick up a pack of cigarettes, and I got carded like you do. I was 24 at the time, and there was a cop there like filling out paperwork at the front counter. So I knew I was getting carded, and transaction rings up, everything's fine. The cop's like, "Wait, did you check her ID?" "Yeah." "Was she old enough?" "Yeah." And so I turned to the cop and I'm like, "How old do you think I am?" He thought I was 16. I was like, "I haven't been 16 in 8 years. Thanks, buddy."
Compliment.
See, that's what like Jen said. People don't card me anymore. People card me. I tip them. Here's $1.
Oh
Do it
yeah.
again
Oh
next
no, no.
time.
If
Thanks.
somebody was to card me, I'd be, oh fuck, that's awesome.
Look, no, I tip them. Yeah, I want them to do it
Another,
every time I go in the store. Please.
Another funny like ID story is with me and my sister, my youngest sister. She's 6 years younger than me. We went to Walmart and she wanted to pick up a movie. I forget what one it was, but it was the one that Sony got hacked by like North Korea or whatever. And like to try to keep the film from being like released in theaters. This happened like 6 years ago or so. But it was the unrated version. And so when we went to ring it out at self-checkout, the woman, you know, had to card us because you needed to be 17. Now, both of us are, you know, in our 20s. I, you know, at this point am almost 30, or I was 30. And, you know, so she's like around 24, 25. And so the woman looks at our IDs and then looks at us and is like, "Are you guys sisters?" And yeah. And then she turns to my younger sister and is, "Are you the older sister?" Oh man, if looks could kill, my sister was pissed. Oof. Made my day though.
I have a good story about that. I have always looked a lot younger than I'll get to you. Right, this will be quick. I have always looked so much younger than I am. Like right now, I am 59, and not very many people believe that I really am 59. In fact, I will turn 60 in just 2 more months. But it's always been this way. And when we used to go to the movies, when I was 15, my older brother was 17. He would drive us. My youngest brother was 11. And so we would buy 4 movie tickets, 3 adults and 1 child. But my 11-year-old brother was already 5'9". So they gave me the child's ticket and gave my brother, who was 11, an adult ticket, because nobody would believe that he was a child and everybody would believe that I was.
That's great.
I get that all the time with my brothers because until I grew my beard, I was always seen as younger because I'm short. I'm only 5'4". My brothers are both nearly 6 foot. Like they're not quite 6 foot, but they're a good head taller than me. And they're much bigger than me. They like going to the gym. So even when we were younger, I would often get confused. Like I remember once we went quad biking in New Zealand, and my brother, they pointed him to the adults one. They're like, "Oh, so you're gonna have the kids one?" And I don't know. It just kind of stuff. Like I'm older. Where's my? I want the adult one. They gave me the big one after that. But I had a moment like that with my friends because I'm also a good few months older than most of my friends, even the ones I finished school and did uni with. And when we were in our first year of uni, we were at a restaurant. We got asked for ID. Well, we were ordering, actually. They went around the table. Everyone was ordering a beer, and they've gone around. All my friends, they're all younger than me. And it's come back to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'll have a beer as well. I'll have this one. And she goes, "Are you old enough to drink?" And same thing. I was just like, "Yes, I am." And I realized I was probably a bit too rude. And then she just went, "Okay." And she walked off. I still got my beer.
Junkshop had something to say.
Oh, just real quick, because I've got to run. Julie needs the computer. So everybody in the chat, if you're able to donate, please do. As much fun as we're all having hanging out and talking about getting carded, we got to remember Jen's on a deadline. And so if you possibly can donate, we have, if you can, do. If you can't, share the stream, share the pool.
Share the stream, share the link. It's all on Twitter.
Randy, thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for coming.
Thanks, Junkshop.
Bye, Junkshop. It was lovely seeing you again.
Great to see everybody.
Hi, honey.
Thank you.
And
So
Mo tells
another.
me I have broke the 9th commandment, which is let's see.
There's no way she's older than 58.
No, I remember the night I turned 21, I went to the liquor store to buy I forgot what I bought, just because I could. And then I went out to dinner with my parents and I ordered a beer because the place we went didn't have, all they had was beer for alcohol. And I didn't get carded. The one time I wanted to be carded where I could be like, yeah, showing off my driver's license
You
that I was
didn't.
21, I didn't get fucking carded. I wasn't even going to drink the beer because I can't drink beer. I just gave it to my dad. But like, it really frustrated me because it was like, you know, the one time.
Do you know how
And then
many
I get
people
carded for
have told
stupid
me?
stuff.
Do you know how many people have told me that they on their 21st birthday they went out and didn't get carded? It's almost
Yeah,
like
it was the same thing for me when I was
bartender
18.
knows. Oh, this is your 21st. I'm not going to card you. I swear to God,
Yeah,
I've
it was
heard
the
that a
same.
lot.
It was the same
pissy.
for my 18th year because we'd organised to have a get together at one of the pubs in Albany, and because the bartender knew me, it was like, you're not going to get carded. So it was the first time I could have been carded. I could have been carded and it wouldn't have mattered, but it just didn't matter. Everybody at the bar was by me. I don't remember the night at all. That's how drunk I got that night. And I didn't buy a single drink all night, and I don't remember the night at all. I don't even remember how I got home.
That's scary.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I've
was
never
a
been
little
that
scary.
drunk.
Neither.
Fortunately, my brother was actually at the party, so I'm pretty.
Okay.
I know that he was there to make sure I got home safe. But yeah, it was like
I know. I've been tipsy, you know, multiple times, but like drunk, I've honestly only ever been drunk twice, and I don't like the feeling, you know, of being out of control. And one of the times that I was drunk, someone put hands on me in a bad way, and I attacked them in self-defense. But I got really mad because I was gonna leave, and I was fucking hammered. And my friend looked me dead in the eye and is like, there is no fucking way you are going anywhere. And they took my keys from me. I was very angry that night. I thanked them the following morning, you know, after I had slept it off. But I went and drank a bunch more booze and then spent 2 hours leaned over a lawn chair in the backyard, just emptying my like everything. Like it felt like I was throwing up my intestines. It was the worst experience of my life. And I have not been drunk since. Like tipsy, yes, you know, had a couple of drinks, but and it was because I was always a designated driver. And like that night, I knew I was going to get drunk, but I was going to be staying the night there too, because my parents instilled in me in a young age that if you're going to drink, make sure that you're safe. We don't care if you call us at 3:00 in the morning that you need a ride. You will not be in trouble. We just want you safe. And
Exactly.
they told me that even before one of my friends from elementary school ended up in a similar situation, but she did drive home and she did end up wrecking and dying because of it. And so like that just reinforced my parents' thing. So I was always a designated driver if we were going to be going somewhere, and if we were just staying in, then I could drink whatever I wanted. But yeah, like after that one experience, I'm just like, mm-mm. So I don't really drink that much anymore. Like every now and again. Election night, I drank a lot, but that's a whole other story. Like I polished off a bottle of wine that night.
Aside from a singular drink every now and then, I don't drink at all anymore because I've seen Rob's liver failure was not caused through drinking. It wasn't alcohol related. It's a genetic thing in the family, which is not great, but alcohol doesn't help. So from my perspective, as soon as I've seen how Rob's been, I'm not drinking anymore, not in any major sort of way. I won't get drunk. I'll share a drink with friends, and that is it, because I don't ever want to have to go through what I've seen him go through, because it is a horrible, horrible thing. And no, it's just no, it's not worth it. But there's that genetic predisposition to liver issues in our family, and you know, there's just no way I'm going to play that Russian roulette kind of game with it. So.
Yeah, well, if we're ever in the same place, we'll each have one drink, nurse it for a few hours, and just enjoy our time, have a meal, you know, like that. That's kind of my thing. Though there is this one restaurant that we have around here. It's called Longhorn Steakhouse. and they have these margaritas. Like they have a watermelon margarita, and they rim the glass with like a fruity like sugar instead of salt. Like it literally tastes like Jolly Rancher, like the watermelon Jolly Rancher, which is my favorite, in a margarita form. And like they give you the shaker, and like it's enough to pour 2 drinks. So like I usually end up sharing the second one with a friend because I don't like drinking that much in one go, but at most I'll have, you know, that when I'm out, if I'm not driving. If I am driving, then I just get soda or, you know, some other non-alcoholic thing.
Yeah, I remember, was it up at Newtown, which is just up the road from where I am now? There's a bar that, again, pre-COVID times, would do a happy hour deal, 2-for-1 cocktails. And cocktails in Australia are really expensive. Like they're close to $20 here for a cocktail.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty.
Holy crap!
Yeah, like you can
crazy.
like paying $17 to $19 is not unreasonable for a cocktail. Oh, well, not unexpected. It's not that reasonable. And
It's common.
yes, but this place would do 2-for-1. And the first few times I went there, I was with friends who were more sensible. You'd pick a partner, and you'd go that wanted the same cocktail as you, and you'd go up and get it together. So it was easy. And then maybe later on you get another one down the track after it had settled a bit. But then as I went later, I was with, you know, friends who'd been at uni for a bit longer, and they came up with the rule of, no, you do the 2-for-1 and then drink the 2. And they will pour multiple shots into each one. So I had friends who would go there. We'd get like 1 or 2 rounds, and then they would have trouble getting into the next place.
Yeah.
I
Pub crawls
remember
are fun.
I remember back in college, I was the designated driver, and we every Friday and Saturday night we had like a ritual where we would have drinks because one of my friends' dorm room actually had like the air conditioning grate, like for the filter in their room, but the space behind it was so big that they actually were able to stock a mini fridge in there. So they were able to hide the booze from the RAs. Then again, the RA that they had was cool because like he would show up to the parties and drink with us. But so we'd be drinking and playing Texas Hold'em every Friday and Saturday night. And this would go on until about, 2:30, 3 in the morning. And then everybody would get grouped up and all hop in this big station wagon, sitting not quite the safest, just cram everybody in. I would be driving, and we would go to either Waffle House or Denny's or IHOP and have, breakfast. And it was like a $5 buy-in for the Hold'em. But like I usually ended up winning because I would have one drink at the beginning of the night and nurse it, and everybody else was getting completely smashed. So it's pretty easy to win at cards against people that are drunk. So I never had to pay for my meal because I just won the money off of them. But I drove, so I figured, that's fair. So then we would have breakfast, and then I would drive everybody up to Flagler Beach, where it's actually a red sand beach. Like Daytona Beach has like the white sand, but in Flagler, they actually have red sand that is like crushed shells. And there's this one spot on the beach where there's a little car park area that it holds like maybe 5 cars, and then there's a little ramp to get down to the ocean, and it's right there off of the road. And there's no street lights. There's one street light lighting up a single road, but then there's nothing else. So you can go and see the stars, like do some stargazing, and then wait for the sunrise. And you see the sunrise over the ocean, like with like no light pollution or limited light pollution when you're seeing the stars. And then we would go down that road that had the one lone little street lamp, and it was called the Loop. And so it's like this marshy area where there's houses and stuff. There's a house that they say a person eating witch lives in, fun little local lore. But just go through the loop and see like the different like trees and just nature. So you get the sunrise and the beach and nature, and then loop back around, hop on I-95 and head back to the college and crash until noon.
I have the
Right.
best story for college drinking parties because I grew up in Wisconsin. And if you ever read the Playboy magazine, used to list the top drinking colleges in the country, and they always had an asterisk at the end and said, "Note that there are no University of California or University of Wisconsin colleges listed because it's not fair to compare the men with boys." Uh, but the drinking
Shots
age
fired.
in Wisconsin was 18, so the students were all of legal age, so we could drink out in the open, we could do whatever we wanted. But there was a group of boys, they were absolutely ingenious. One thing you have to realize is that in Wisconsin, it is winter from October to April. And so that's almost the entire school season. There were a bunch of guys that decided to have a big party. So they moved out of their dorm room into the next dorm room over and opened the windows and turned the entire dorm room into a refrigerator and stocked the whole room with beer.
Work smarter,
Hold
not
on.
harder. I mean, that's fucking 200 IQ play right there.
Oh, that's beast, is what that is. That's crazy. Oh my god. I've never seen that much alcohol at once out of a store.
Oh man,
Enough
I
to fill a
remember
dorm room.
when I was working at the water park. It was actually one of my first jobs. And I first got hired as a birthday party captain of basically babysit these kids during the party, deliver their pizzas, make sure their drinks are topped off, hand them their tickets and tokens and what have you. And so I was doing that. And then they were short staffed in the kitchen one day. So I ended up making the pizzas for the party because they didn't have someone else to do it. And they're like, oh shit, you know how to cook. Like, you know your way around a kitchen. Cool. So I got promoted from birthday party captain, where, I only was there if they needed me for a party, to someone working in the kitchen. And then I ended up getting promoted again to the front desk because my till was never wrong when I was working the kitchen. And also I was really good with the customers. So I got the coveted front desk position, which, some people hated me for, but we had a walk-in like fridge and freezer. And in the fridge were a bunch of empty beer kegs, like the big metal ones. And like, that's where we used to take our lunch breaks, like, cause it's like hot in the summer and it's like, you just go sit on the empty kegs in the cooler where it's like, I don't know, 40 degrees or something like that. Like, and just like eat your lunch where you can like cool down. The only job I didn't do at that theme park was lifeguard. But yeah, because I preferred to stay
Could you have
inside.
done lifeguard though, Kitty? Do you?
I mean, I could have rocked that swimsuit hard, like it'd be
no,
some
I bet
Baywatch
you
shit.
could,
but no, like honestly, I didn't like being in the sun even back then. Because I was saying, I'm not going for Miss Melanoma 2024. Now I have to say 2034 because, I doubt I'd get it in 4 years. But yeah, I've always been kind of averse to the sun, if you hadn't noticed. But no, I mean, like, I literally can reflect the light. My parents made that choice when I was a kid, not me, when they moved here from Massachusetts. But honestly, like, I can't handle a lot of cold weather with my conditions. So like it sucks. Like I can't handle the heat. I can't handle the cold anymore. Like I once actually made $100 in a bet because when I was working in a movie theater, these guys were having a who's is bigger contest by keeping their hand in a bucket of ice. And I won that contest. And they're like, well, I bet you $25 that you won't spend your lunch break in the freezer. And I'm like, you're on. And then someone else like, I'll double it. And then another person, I'll double it. So it got up to $100 if I spent my lunch break in the freezer. And they were like, you can't have a jacket or anything. I was like, okay. So I'm literally sitting in the freezer in a t-shirt and khaki pants, just waiting for my lunch break to be over, just humming to myself. Like the cold really, I was Elsa back then. The cold didn't bother me. like it was around the same time I went to visit family back in Massachusetts, and I'd gotten out of the shower and I just towel dried my hair quickly. I was wearing a spaghetti strap shirt and silk pajama pants, and this was Thanksgiving time, so November, and there's snow on the ground outside. Like it's snowy, and I went outside to smoke a cigarette. And, you know, I'm sitting on this little plastic chair, smoking my cigarette, didn't have a jacket or anything. I was like, yeah, I'll be quick, you know? And then I come back in and I go to sit down on the couch and lean back and I hear this crunchy sound. And I'm like, oh shit, my hair had actually frozen because it was still slightly wet. So I had to lean forward until it thawed out before I could lean back because I was worried about breaking my hair off. And now if it drops down anywhere near like 40 degrees or what is that, like 5 degrees Celsius, like I'm done. Like I'm just like, fuck me. I've got like 20 million layers and I want like all of, like the people around me, just give me your body heat. Like,
see, I always get complaints from my girlfriend, whoever it is at the time, that I'm too hot. You're just like, you just
complain though, B.
You exude heat. Get away from me. Huh?
I am a heat sink. Like I literally am always cold. I suck the heat out of anybody that's around me. No, it's so funny because
the heat out of the room.
No, like we were sitting at the comic book shop, and we, after they would close, we would watch movies or anime or what have you. And so I'm like laying down watching the show and everything like that. Like my hands are like ice. So like whoever was sitting next to me, they were on warm kitty's hands duty, where it's like I'd grab like, you know, right above their ankle, hold on for a minute or two until my hands warmed up, and then wait 5-10 more minutes, and then I could go right back to do it again.
And they're going, cold.
Okay, we are getting so close to $1,000, and I'm going to ask, you know, if people can just chip in just a little bit more toward the fundraiser. If you are in the United States and you go on the link and you put in $10, that's actually only going to cost you $7.74, because $7.74 in US is equal to $10 in Aussie dollars. So, you know, if you're thinking, oh, I just don't quite have $10, but I've got a little less, put in $10. Jen gets 10 Aussie dollars, but it only costs you $7.74.
And any little bit helps.
Yep, so. And any little bit helps.
Absolutely.
$1, $2, you know, there's no problem with $1 or $2.
Yeah.
We'll get you there, Jen. Especially
slowly
since we
but surely.
Thanks,
right.
Matt.
Yes, thanks.
Little bit by little bit.
Little bit by little bit.
I don't pay tax because my scholarship is weirdly classified as not income. So that can be my equivalent of a tax rebate.
That's kind of cool, actually.
It is, but I don't get paid a lot. So
yeah,
it's just
anyone who actually thinks that scientists get paid a lot of money,
they can talk to me.
Yeah, unless you happen to work in a field that some big multinational company wants to make a lot of money off your idea for, you don't. So the majority of scientists earn less than teachers.
If you become a full professor in Australia, you can earn a bit more than a teacher, but not much.
Not much.
No. And the only people I know at the university that would be able to call themselves rich from being a professor are like the top two that are really, really famous and that the uni wants to keep. So
we actually had this discussion with Scientist Mel the other day, a rather inebriated Scientist Mel the other day.
Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah. She's funny if she's drunk, sober, doesn't matter.
She is hilarious when she's drunk. But about how she was actually earning more money as a teacher than she has done as. Well, she earns more money as a teacher than she was as a research scientist.
And she also said that she owes more in student loan debt than she does on her house.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
She said she owes $180,000 in student loan debt, and her house is cheaper than that.
Wait, there's a house cheaper than 180 grand?
Well, in the U.S., sure.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
yeah. If you
there
get
is.
one in a rural area, yes.
The median house price where I am is just over $1 million. Like
Yeah.
a studio apartment will set you back at least $400K now if you're anywhere near the city or a
But you
station.
live in the city.
I have
Yeah.
to.
Fuck that.
And the thing is, because that's where the university is, I can't move further out. So I stay with family because, well, I don't
It's
have
too
any money.
expensive.
Because like if you want a deposit for a house here, you need to have saved up about 100K or so. And Sydney and Melbourne are ridiculous in Australia. Perth's a bit better, and
little bit
Brisbane's a
better.
little bit better.
But even Perth, there's no way I could have got a loan to get a house in Perth. Not that I wanted to. Like I said, with Rob being ill and everything, the idea was to move back closer to family. But even then, I could not afford to get a place in Albany. I could have rented, but I didn't want to. I could borrow a certain amount of money, and I didn't want to rent. So I ended up getting a place. It's a repair job. It's going to take me a long time to do it because I don't have the money for all of it, but it's livable enough at the moment, and there's going to be some work that has to be done up front, and I'm going to do a lot of it. But I ended up getting a place for $113,000 for a 3-bedroom house on 700 square meters, and that's 50 kilometers outside of Albany, in a small satellite town. So it's only half an hour drive.
That's impressive for Australia.
That's only a half-hour drive into regional city, but there is work to be done there. I mean, I'm going to have to redo fencing at some point, which I will probably do most of the work myself, along with friends and family helping. One of the ceilings needs replacing. That is a job that we'll actually have to have a professional come in and doing.
God, I wish I lived near you.
Oh,
I could go fix that shit in like a month. Easy.
Yeah. In two minds about the ceiling. I'm thinking putting a suspended ceiling under the current one's the better option. A, it'll add extra layer of insulation, and B, this house is built in the 60s, so it's got the fancy cornicing on it, and there's no way you can buy that anymore. So that makes a major problem with replacing a chunk of the ceiling where the leak that originally happened washed out part of the cornicing. So I don't know how I could replace that. Whereas putting a suspended ceiling in underneath, because it's got the really, really high ceilings, the 12-foot ceilings. So it's easy enough to put a suspended ceiling underneath, make the room a bit smaller, and then height-wise, so reduce the volume in the room so it's easy to cool and keep warm, and put an extra layer of insulation up above the suspended ceiling.
Yeah, plus, the suspended ceilings like that, they dampen sound too. It'll cut down the echo in the house, because in older houses with really high ceilings, you get really bad echoes. Yeah,
and this is the lounge room. So I mean, so this is in the lounge room that this has happened. So I'm thinking that's the best option, but there's no way I could do that, and even with family help and that, I don't think I could put a suspended ceiling in. So it's like that's a job of getting somebody. But my sister. Brother-in-law.
It's actually not that hard.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I don't want to kill myself.
Strips of metal, and then you have these cables, things like pieces of metal. Sometimes they're cables, sometimes they're solid pieces of metal, and they're like pencil lead sized. And you attach them to the ceiling, the existing ceiling, and then you just hang it.
Oh, okay.
It's actually really not. The hardest part is cutting the metal. And you can cut it with like metal shears, like siding shears. Yeah. You don't even have to have any tools, just a set of siding shears and a drill and some screws. Yeah.
And you can take that as gospel, because if lesbians know one thing, it's hardware.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Love you,
Fuck
B.
yeah, I do.
Sorry, I couldn't let the night go by without at least one lesbian joke.
If you don't use me for a lesbian joke, I really feel left out. No.
You know what I'm going to do now, B? I'm going to take photos of it next time I'm down and send them to you, and you're going to tell me, that's really easy.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, send me photos.
Effectively,
all you have to do is you get the L-shaped pieces, and they go all the way around the outside. right? However low you're hanging it down. And then as you do the cross pieces going this way, and then you put them going across too, and there's little corner pieces.
Then
to
you
latch
just
them
got to find out
together.
where the
It's
where
really
the roof beams
easy.
are and join them up. And
Yeah, it's really not hard.
And rewire the light so that it comes down to the next.
By the way,
it depends on where you live. Some people leave so much in the ceiling, you could drop it down. You might have a foot in the ceiling.
Oh, it's got a hung light anyway, so technically it could just hang it through a hole. but yeah, I'd just rewire it. I mean, I don't have my ticket for doing electrical work in Australia, but I know how to do it because I've done a lot of it in the past under supervision, but I've done a lot of
the
it,
trick
so.
for me is if you want it like checked by someone certified, I just do this shit myself and then pay somebody for 1 hour to come out and check it. I'm not going to pay that son of a bitch all that money to put it in for me if I know how to do it.
I have a cousin who's an electrician, so he'd come out and do it for me anyway, so it's not a problem. So.
Well, if it's an older house, you're probably going to have to check all the wiring for the lights and the outlets and switches.
Yeah, well, we've got to put a new oven into the kitchen as well, which I've already got. My mum bought a whole secondhand kitchen stuff, a whole secondhand kitchen that was pulled out of somewhere else. My mum bought it for me as a Christmas present, so that included the oven.
Nice.
So it's an electric oven, but I've got to get it wired. So I'm going to get my cousin, because that's 30 amps that you've got to have brought up for those ovens. So they'll have to be wired from the meter box. So I'll get him to come and do it, and I'll get him to check the rest of the wiring. So if he's coming to do that, I may as well have him do the light as well at the same time. So, but it's stuff that's all happening. I don't necessarily have to put in the drop ceiling straight away. Technically, because of the way the ceiling is, I could just give up having the cornicing in the one spot where it's horrible and just do a butted, so you've got a right angle joint at that point, and just replace the couple of bits of plasterboard that are gone, because the house was built in the 60s, so it's a horsehair plaster.
Okay.
It's not actual horsehair, but it would probably be hemp plaster. So it's got the hemp fibers holding the plaster together, which is why when the rain threw it all melted, it all just washed all the plaster out of the hemp. So you still can see the hemp there, but it's actually done in sheets. It's still done in sheets, and what I've got is the sheet above where the fireplace was, where the water ran down through. That's all washed out, but in this older ceiling, instead of doing mudding between the joints, it's got beading. So it's got a bit of wood that's covering the seal. So it's got like this crosshatch on the ceiling. So I technically could just cut the beading out, drop out that one piece of horsehair plaster that's naffed, and just put up a bit of modern gyprock, modern paper plasterboard.
That's what I would do. Just put beading back up
for now, and put beading back up for now.
And if you're going to take the beading down and you're going to do that, you might as well just take it all down and just paint the whole damn thing, clean up the beading, and then put it back up.
We are getting very close to the end of our time, and we are still $25 short. So if there's anyone in the chat that has not,
no, we're not. Sorry, I hadn't updated the figure.
Oh,
I was waiting for you guys to stop talking so that I could do the update, because I had it pulled up over here that it's 1,005.
Thank you, Kitty.
Wonderful.
Good job, everybody.
We did it.
Thank you.
We got you up to 1,000. I know you were trying to get a little higher than that, but that is
every bit
perfect
helps
for this stream, right?
Yeah, that helps. And there's still I'm going to let the fundraiser run up until Easter, because the move's on the 8th of April, so it's after Easter. Although I do have to pay a deposit on the removalists, I've got enough money aside to do that. It's from other fundage, but that's fine. So I'll let it run up until then, and then I'll close it. So
so that was like what? It's like $440 from this stream. Good job, chat. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, thank you.
That's
Thank you so much, everyone.
$410, I think it was.
$410 in an hour and 20 minutes. That's incredible. Yeah, you guys are amazing.
It's amazing. Thank you, everyone.
This community is fantastic. I honestly, I feel very fortunate to be a part of a community that they come out for people and they help
Yep.
when they can,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love this community. They're just amazing. And thank you, Granny, for doing this.
Yes.
You are so
Thanks,
welcome.
Gigi.
Mhm.
Kitty and I are planning on doing another one. Well, Kitty wants to do another one
Okay.
on my channel at some point where we're going to do a bit of a fundraising stream.
Okay, and
Um,
that should get you over everything
we'll-
you need then.
Yeah,
we
hopefully.
may do that. We may actually do that on the Easter weekend as sort of like the last thing,
Okay.
just to see
One
where we're
last
at.
push.
And one last push to get there. But it's still a couple of weeks of this, and
Yeah.
I think I'll probably get there, which is good. And anything I get over will go towards like repairing that ceiling and getting other stuff done, so that because the sooner I can get things done, the more livable the house is. But it's livable at the moment. The kitchen is functional, even though it needs the oven put into it. And aside from the fact that next time I go down, I've got to try and get the fencing fixed up to the point that I can get the dog there, because otherwise the dog will bugger off.
Hit the refresh button.
Fencing.
Hit your
Hit the
refresh
refresh.
button, Jen.
Oh wow!
Jenna
Oh
came
my
in.
goodness. Oh
Aw.
wow, look at that.
Wow,
Oh, thank you
Jenna,
so
that
much,
is
Jenna.
so
Jenna.
sweet.
That is
That is
amazing.
very
amazing.
generous, Jenna.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank
I-
you.
This community is fantastic, honestly.
You know,
Thanks,
that's
Jenna.
why when people say, "Oh, atheists are horrible," I'm like, "Shut up! Do you know what they do?" And Mike, I've told them about purple and everything, and I said, what was it? Seraphim had car issues, and everybody had money together in just a few days, and she got to fix it. It was like 5 days, and she had enough to fix her car with. Like, don't tell me we have a bad community. We
And
might be
we
all
have-
hard-headed, and we're all biased, and we're all skeptical, but we're not assholes. And
Well,
we
not
take
only
care of
that,
one
like,
another, and we
Godless
love one another.
Engineer.
So
Godless
anybody
Engineer.
says different, fuck them. That's all I got to say.
Godless Engineer and his wife, like, they are constantly doing fundraising for charitable causes, like, be it getting peanut butter to Haitian orphanages so that they have their protein they need, to others. They've done so many fundraisers, and they do one, I think, every month where they donate to a charitable cause. And when my sewing machine broke early in the pandemic, I had only sewed about 70 masks at that point. And the community came together for me to help me because I didn't really have the funds at the time to get a new machine. And I've been able to sew over 400 masks, more than I would have been able to had I not had the sewing machine. And they, I think it was a $300 goal for the GoFundMe, and it surpassed its goal in 24 hours. I mean, this community is fantastic, and they look out for each other. And
yeah,
I could
and
just
like
ramble on
Purple
about how
said-
great everybody here is, but
like Purple said, bought Doc
It is a
Fierce a
beautiful
car,
community.
raised a couple thousand when Angie had a tree fall on her house, and then somebody got a washing machine or something they needed. Who was that? A couple months ago.
I don't know.
So we didn't have a washing machine, had some kids, and everybody donated and got him a washing machine. So he was like crying when they delivered it. He was just so excited to have
serious.
a washing
I
machine.
actually wasn't going to do this fundraiser. I did have the option to borrow some more money from my mum, but I mean I don't want to because she's in a nursing home, and while she has she has a pension, she does have some savings and that, and I could have borrowed it and paid her back and everything. And I was talking to Purple, who's absolutely amazing. Thank you, Purple. And Purple just said, no, you should do a fundraiser. You've helped out other people when they've done fundraisers. You've spent hours on fundraising streams and done things. The community
really
will
have.
help you. And I said, okay, I'll bite my pride and I'll do the
Casey
fundraiser.
said a very similar thing to me, because I was like, I feel weird asking, for help to get the new sewing machine, and Casey was like, look, if you can have people in, a stupid internet spat raising $10,000 between them for legal costs, your $300 for a new sewing machine to actually help people, that's nothing.
Right.
So I mean, I'm
Literally.
paraphrasing what she said, like I don't think she used the term idiot because that's not really her thing.
Right.
But just pointing out that, you've got people fighting over a YouTube channel and having a lawsuit between them. They raise $10,000 between them. $300 is nothing compared to that, and one is actually contributing to the betterment of society, and the other is just kind of a wasted, wasted money. But hey, people can do whatever they want with their own money,
Yeah.
See,
Well, I
Purple,
can guarantee
Purple
you
is so
none of
big
this
about
money's
helping
being
people.
wasted.
He knows all of the people. I forgot about Wonder Lady's new fridge too. Like he remembers every single thing that happened.
And I
There
might
is
even do a
absolute-
house tour. I think I'll have to do a house tour of the new house.
that would be
once I've shifted,
lovely.
Oh
because-
yeah.
Because people have helped me shift, and I mean, like I said, if I raise any extra money, that's going to go towards fixing up the ceiling in the lounge room, and getting the rest of the stuff done. So that the extra cost that there'll be in doing, because it is a repair job. That's the reason why the house was so cheap. I would not have been able to do this without you guys. I wouldn't have been able to do this without my brother. My brother will be living with me because, of course, I'll be helping caring for him and everything. But I did not have a big enough deposit to buy the house. I had enough income to because I've already got a disability pension. Not disability. I've got a carer's pension, not disability, for my daughter because of her depression. But I'll also be caring for my brother as well. But because I'm on a carer's pension, I can get a loan, but it's not a huge loan. So that's why I went for a cheaper place that was a doer-upper. And I wouldn't have been able to do this without him, because he had enough money in savings to pay the deposit, which I did not. So
that's something though. Like carers are not appreciated enough. Like it is very difficult. I mean, just even being a stay-at-home mom is a difficult job. But if you are tending to somebody with an illness or disability, that increases it by tenfold with how hard it is. And like people can even get PTSD. Like if they're caring for dying loved ones, they can end up developing PTSD from the stress and the trauma of not only seeing someone waste away, but having to be there and care for them. And it's something that isn't talked about enough, I don't think, and I don't think that we as a society, care as much, about it when we really should. I mean, if you are a carer for somebody who has an illness or disability, like I do believe that there should be, like a pension type thing in all countries. And, it should be something to help offset not only the financial cost of taking care of that person, but also, the emotional toll that it takes as well. Because when it comes down to it, if it's literally done like the safety net here, where you get next to nothing. I think for somebody with no income and one child, the most you can get on food stamps in this country is, I think, about $350 a month. And like, I mean, sure, it sounds like a lot, but then when you go to a grocery store and try to actually buy food for a month, you realize that that is not enough. And if they have any special dietary needs, then that makes it even worse. So that's why I am such a proponent of like a UBI type system, where it can help fill in the gaps in areas and help uplift people, because it seems like people that are carers end up on the lower side of the income scale, because even if they are making decent money, they might not be able to work the amount of hours that would make them the decent money if they have to work part-time because they need to be a carer the rest of the time, or if they need someone round the clock, they can't afford a nurse, or insurance won't pay for a nurse. Like then you can't work and you have to take care of this person. And I feel like our governments are letting us down in more ways than one, but this is one area that it seems especially egregious.
Right.
And it's sad. Like it really is. Like I don't like the thought of anybody going hungry. And it seems like if you're like straddling that poverty line or below it, you're skipping meals. You're going hungry just to try to scrape by. And I think that in first world countries, that should not be a thing. Nobody should go to bed hungry, ever. you
Mhm.
know?
Oh, I
And,
agree with that.
like,
Yeah,
I could
100%
rant
agree.
and rave about that, but that's not what we're here for. So I will zip it.
No,
And
but I 100%
Well-
agree. But even like in Australia, where we have carers pensions and we have disability pensions for people who are disabled and stuff, it's not enough. The pensions themselves have not changed with not changed significantly in the last 15 years, which means that they've fallen way behind the cost of livings. Well, not way behind, but they were ahead of the cost of living at one point, and now they're basically just sitting on it, which means that anyone who's on a pension is more or less sitting close to the poverty line, which makes it really, really hard. You know, it's
Yeah.
so it like for me, the only way I could get a house was to buy something that was going to be out in the sticks. I mean, right out in the sticks, and be a fixer-upper, because there was no other way I was ever going to be able to do that.
I mean,
but
homeownership in general has like slipped through. I mean, there's an entire generation that they'll likely never own a home with the housing markets as they are now. I mean, you have to be very, very fortunate and like one of the lucky few. But I mean, a lot of millennials, it's not their avocado toast that's keeping them from owning houses. It's literally the fact that it is way too damn expensive. And when you're straddled with student loan debt, you can't do student loans and a mortgage. Like, you just can't, because you still have to factor in electricity and internet and a vehicle to get around if you don't have solid public transit in your area. Like, it's just, we could be doing so much more. Like, there could be a better redistribution of things where you see companies like GE not paying a dime in taxes. So literally your average school teacher making barely enough to be above the poverty line, and they're paying more per dollar amount in taxes than some large companies like GE, Boeing, and so forth. And
It's absolutely
that
true.
should not happen. Like,
Because
it's
they
bad
don't-
enough that the secretary, like, I believe, what's his name? He's like the billionaire guy that he's actually he wants to raise taxes on the wealthy. He's one of the billionaires. I can't remember his
Bernie?
name right now.
Oh, I know who you mean. Gosh, I can't think of his name either. But I know who you mean.
Yeah. So he's like, look, my secretary is paying more of her income in taxes percentage wise than I am. That's a problem. Because like, he sees the writing on the wall that it could lead to the eat the rich kind of thing. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett.
That's it.
I thought Jimmy Buffett for a second. I'm like, nah, that's not right. And then I was like,
No, he's the cool dude, but that's the wrong dude.
different Buffett.
Yeah, even
Like-
around Sydney, I know that if you wanted to actually rent a place around here, I mean, even if you're on a PhD, you'd still have to share, because $700 a fortnight is low for a place around here just to rent. Like, there is about 1 kilometer that way towards the city from where I am. They built some apartments and they finished roughly when I started uni, so they're more expensive now. The cheapest apartment there was a single bedroom that went for over $1 million. And in Australia, that's what the prices are like. But so if you had a house before about 2000, you're really good. If you bought your house if you tried buying a house in Sydney after 2000, you're in a lot of trouble. So where my dad has his work, fortunately, he bought the place 20 something years ago when he started there. But his suburb in the last 20 years has seen like a few 100% increase in house prices.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
It's unsustainable.
We have been going for over an hour and a half now, so I'm going to have us go ahead and shut it down. And first, I'm going to let everybody have a chance to shill for anything they want to shill for. And while we are doing that, if anyone wants to give in a last $1, $2, just to give Jen just a little bit more of a boost, we'll have Jen
See if we
refresh.
can make it to 1200.
Right. See if we can make it to 1200, and we'll have Jen refresh one more time as soon as everyone has finished shilling, and see if we've got her at 1,200. And so,
Yeah.
Jen, we'll let you go first. What have you got coming up?
I actually don't have probably anything coming up this week. Will and I are taking a couple of weeks off the What the Fuck show. We'll be back for an Easter special, and that will start our probably what we'll call our second season, but I don't know why we have seasons on YouTube, to be quite honest. I am looking at putting together a new intro for it, so that should be kind of cool. On top of that, hopefully I'll get back into the swing of things with doing some Stump Jens, although I want to change the format up a little bit to come with have a few more guests on who are actually guests to talk about science stuff, and I also want to do a bit of a thing where we're talking about women in STEM and science and stuff like that. So that should be interesting as well. Yeah, aside from that, I'm just so busy. I'll actually be away in the new down south in the new house this weekend. I'm taking a trailer load of stuff down, and hopefully getting the fence up for the dogs so that when we do the final shift there's a fence, because I don't want to take pets down and then have to leave the dog in a chain for a few weeks. That would just, or at least a few days, because that would not be nice. And so I would like a fence up, a working fence up for the dog.
Okay. Kitty, you now have a YouTube channel. Do you have some videos coming up?
Actually, I was thinking about, because I really do enjoy, sewing a lot. I was actually thinking about doing a couple of more, like showing different ways to do masks, or just, the same style of mask, but how to customize it. And I am also, hopefully sometime in the next couple of weeks, I want to start a live stream where I get together a couple of friends, and it's basically going to be like a book club, but with movies. So, we pick a movie, then we all watch it, and then we can discuss it. So kind of like a movies with friends thing where we just shoot the shit and talk about a film. Like we can either pick apart like a really terrible movie and laugh at it, or, we could reminisce about, better times or how we wish things were. I just think it would be a fun, cool idea. And any chance I get to really get on with everybody and chat, because like I love this. I love the community, and I love being able to have conversations about anything at all. And depending on the movie, the different themes could lead to different types of conversations. And we'll even do a Bond one for Matt. We'll definitely have to do one of the Bond films and have Matt on. But yeah, I'm like, everything's kind of up in the air right now because I am still focused on the sewing. But when I do post anything new, or when I do actually get everything ironed out for the live stream, then I will let everybody know on Twitter. But I do want to say thank you to everybody that donated. Like, this means a lot to me. Like, Jen has come to mean a lot to me. And I'm glad that we can help her, and like, I'm literally getting emotional right now. So go to somebody else.
I forgot something, and so did you. Kitty and I are going to be doing a show together where we're going to be talking about survivors of different things. Like the first show will be about domestic abuse. And then we'll probably also talk about people who survive from drugs and other things, but we're going to branch out. But we want to talk about people's stories and let people know that it's all right, you can survive these things. So that'll be coming out. Probably we may not put the first show out until after I'm done moving, because it depends how much time I have. But that'll be coming up sometime in April.
Okay.
Cool. Hey, Jen, refresh that.
No, not yet. She's not allowed to refresh it.
I was going to, and then I realized
Yep.
Granny wants
just a minute.
It to come up at the end.
Okay.
B, what do you have coming up?
I already said that at the beginning.
Monday,
Wednesday,
I know, but
Fridays.
Some of the
Monday,
people
Wednesday,
in the chat
Fridays,
now aren't the same
8
as the
p.m.
ones
Eastern.
Yeah.
Mondays are quality night. Wednesdays are history night, and Fridays are open mic night.
Okay. And Matthew, what have you got?
No, I'll just take the opportunity. Go sub to these guys and don't forget give a nice
It's up to Matt.
like for the video. Give
And
Godless
it's up to
Granny the love
Matt.
for this.
Like
Up to
he
Matt,
does like
'cause
the
Matt's amazing.
science of things, and it's great. Like his Bond video is freaking phenomenal. Loved it. And I'm not even a huge fan of Bond, but he did an amazing job of breaking them down like the cars in the Bond films, and it was a lot of fun.
I do have one on nuclear bombs coming up, but yeah, I'm not here for me, so we'll see how that goes. But hopefully,
Go sub to him twice now because he's trying to like not.
No, that'll unsubscribe them. Just once.
No, make 2 accounts and sub to him with both.
Oh,
You know what you should do, Matt? Because it's really interesting. You should do the science of the Chernobyl meltdown, because so many people get everything about Chernobyl wrong.
Ooh,
oh
I
yeah,
would love
that
to
should
see
never have
that.
happened. They cut.
No, but
all the
it's not
safety
just about
procedures
it,
out.
about the idea of what it was, what happened at Chernobyl, because people get the wrong idea of what actually happened at Chernobyl compared to actually what did happen. So.
And what I have coming up this Saturday, I will be on the Atheist Roundtable's Ultimate Debate Challenge. And I will be debating Scott in the first round. And this one is going to be an atheist versus atheist debate on, is the Christian God real? And there's 16 contestants. There is a $666 cash prize for the winner. So that is going to go for several hours until we get down to the last contestant, the last debate, which will be around 9 Eastern time, I think. And so
Don't you
that's
have a
gonna be
bit of
lot
an
fun.
unfair advantage as a lawyer?
No, because one of the people in there is a professional debater, and so I'm not,
okay.
yeah.
So you're saying he's a masturbator?
Yes.
Yeah.
I made that joke in one of the other streams.
I literally
An old
said that.
joke, but a goodie.
Yeah.
I literally said that they should have, back when I played World of Warcraft, they had, when they added achievements, like I said, they should have had a fishing achievement. When you max out your fishing skill, you're a master baiter. But they missed that golden opportunity.
but that's like the toy. Master Baiter and Junior Baiter. I made the movie The Toy. I know Granny knows that movie. You have to.
Actually, I don't.
Really?
No.
Oh
Wasn't
my
that Richard
God. If
Pryor?
nobody's seen The Toy, go watch it. It's
Okay.
about a man that
Pryor?
they hired to be a child's toy. Because
Really?
the guy has that much money.
Oh my gosh.
Is that
And
a Robert
the funny
Williams
thing
film?
is the
No,
toy
it's not.
himself is Richard Pryor.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it was
You know
Richard
it's
Pryor.
right.
Richard Pryor. That's right.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
saw it. It was hilarious.
Jackie Gleason. That's it. Jackie Gleason is Master Baiter.
Okay. And next Tuesday, I will have on the Dry Apologist, and we will just have a discussion. That one will not be a debate, but that should be a really good discussion. As far as produced videos, I don't know if I'm going to get something out this week. I'm going to try, but I'm working on a project with Atheist Edge. Atheist Edge is putting out a whole series of videos, and I've been in a number of them. So between the promo that I put together for Tart, for his Ultimate Debate Challenge, the prep work I've been putting in for the Tart debate, the work that I've been doing for Atheist Edge, I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to do a produced video this week as well. But if I might throw something together that's short and sweet. We'll see. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. Jen, hit that refresh button one more time, and let's see where we ended up for the night. Yay! We did it. We raised
Excellent.
Oh, this is
over
amazing.
$600 tonight for Jen for her
We
movie.
doubled it.
You
Yes.
guys are so fucking amazing.
You are absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And there's a very good chance
incredible.
that I'll make the 1500, which is
Yeah,
That
there's only
amazes me.
300 left to go.
300
I mean,
left,
and you still have a
yeah.
couple weeks. We should be able to do this.
We'll have you that by tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm going to say 2 p.m. tomorrow. Let's see if I'm right.
Ooh.
all right. We'll see if you're right.
And Jen, I want to say one more thing. I know I'm far away and I can't physically help you,
I know.
But if you have like, what the fuck is this questions, or what should I do with this, or I don't know how to fix
well, I
this
know
sheet,
because you built your own place, so I will pick your brains.
got
Pete.
ideas.
I guarantee I will.
right?
I
And
will.
if I don't have the answer, my brother will, because
right.
whatever I don't know, he knows literally. So
Cool.
yeah,
I
just
will
let me
definitely
know,
be
okay?
picking your brains.
And I'm
Okay.
going to make you a little housewarming gift.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
That sounds awesome.
It's a mask lamp. It's like the leg lamp, but it's masks. No, I'm kidding.
Well, that would be cool.
That would be
But
cool.
no, that would be a pain in the ass to ship. No, I'll have to do something that will fit in a box.
A small box.
But I've got some ideas.
Cool.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Thank you,
All right.
Granny, for doing this, and
Yes.
thanks for having me come on. I appreciate.
And
helping
thank
you guys
you for everyone for coming. Thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you all for your donations. It has been absolutely wonderful. I appreciate each and every one of you. And so long. Be safe. Live your life.